Hey everybody, we're catching up with some agricultural communication graduates today. We'll be taking a look at what they're doing and how they're impacting the industry. Hey everybody, we're here in Montgomery, Alabama, and we're here with Sarah Hunter. So Sarah, tell us a little bit about where we are today and what it is that you do.
Yeah, we are here at the headquarters of the Alabama Cattlemen's Association and the Southeastern Livestock Exposition. I work here every day as the executive director of the SLE Rodeo.
All right, well, can you show us a little bit about what your day-to-day looks like?
Sure, come on.
All right.
So Megan, today we are here in the museum. This is a really neat feature of the Alabama Cattlemen's Association where anyone can come and learn a little bit about the beef cattle industry and a little bit about rodeo.
All right, well, this is really cool. So tell me a little bit more about the relationship between Alabama Cattlemen's and SLE.
Yeah, so it all started in 1958 when Jim Adams was president of the Cattlemen's Association. He stepped into this role with three goals. One was to produce the Alabama Beef Checkoff program. The second was to produce a publication that served the beef producers of Alabama. And the third was to create an organization that supports youth in more than just the beef industry, in all of the livestock industry. Hence, the Southeastern Livestock Exposition was born.
Yeah, so how did you wind up here? What does your career path look like?
I did not see this one coming, and I'm actually living the dream, which is a funny twist to it. I could not have told you in college exactly what I wanted to do. I actually started Auburn in pre-nursing, realized that that was not my career path, that's not what I was meant for, switched to animal sciences, realized that that was certainly not my career path because the sciences part really got me. So I went on the spring break trips with Dr. Green. I realized that there is an entire world out there with communications and specifically in agriculture, and those were my strengths. So one thing that he told me was, you don't have to figure out what you want to do. Just figure out what you don't want to do. And slowly make that scope a little bit smaller, and you'll find your path in life. And one thing that I realized was networking is key. I started in college. I met a girl named Shelby Wyndham, Easterling now, and she was one of my buddies who I stayed friends with throughout life. She sent me the job application for this position and said, hey, I really think this would suit you. Check it out. Well, loved it. And I ended up applying for this job, and now, like I said, I'm living the dream. And so just networking, even in college, and starting in the agriculture industry, relationships are everything.
Yeah, and now here you are.
Yeah.
Like you said, living the dream.
Yes.
That's really cool. So Sarah, tell us where we are now.
We are at the Garrett Coliseum in Montgomery, Alabama. This is the home of the SLE Rodeo. Every March, we have 12 days of events at the Garrett Coliseum grounds.
Wow, and you coordinate all of that?
The whole thing.
Wow, that's a lot of work. So tell me, what is the significance of the SLE Rodeo? Why is it so important?
So we exist to support youth involved in agriculture. We are a nonprofit organization that was formed in 1958 by a group of cattlemen who said, let's think about how we could actually support more than just the beef industry and agriculture as a whole in Alabama. So the Southeastern Livestock Exposition was formed. The first rodeo was in '58, and we've been going strong ever since. We host all of these junior events to really give them an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the industry, to showcase what they have learned, and get an opportunity to get plugged in and network and hopefully continue down a path into a career in agriculture as well. So we actually start planning the SLE Rodeo a week after the SLE Rodeo ends. People are always asking, is this really a full-time job? And it is, and it's fun to have something different day to day throughout the entire year, and have something that I'm passionate about is a real win for me.
Yeah, it sounds really rewarding to see all your work come to fruition each year. So
Absolutely.
This is really great, really cool what you're doing. So Sarah, what kind of skills should students have in order to be successful like you are in a job like this?
A lot. You've got to be able to multitask in this job, because in ag communications, you can be an event planner, you can be an advertising expert, you can be a membership manager, you can be a salesperson when it comes to sponsorships, and no 2 days look alike. And there's just a wide variety of opportunities within ag communications. And that's what I really love about it, because there's not just a monotony to my job, and I can appreciate that, and it really lets me excel in different areas of my life. So I mentioned earlier that with AgCom, you have to wear a lot of different hats. And Kayla is my coworker now. We actually studied AgCom together at Auburn, and her job looks totally different than mine. So I wanted to bring her in and let her give you a little insight to what she does day to day for the Cattlemen's Association.
Awesome. So Kayla, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I am a 2015 graduate of the AgCom degree at Auburn University, and I came straight to the Cattlemen's right out of school, and kind of started the communications office here at the Cattlemen's. Prior to that, there wasn't somebody that was dedicated to the communications effort here at the association, and so I had the really unique opportunity to build out that program and really just start to reach out to the membership and kind of share about the good work of the association. And so that was 10 years ago. Time has evolved things. My position has evolved dramatically. When I first started here, I was primarily involved with social media and a little bit of magazine coverage. But now today I am a registered lobbyist. I get to advocate for cattle producers over at the State House during the legislative sessions and kind of protect the business climate of the beef cattle industry in Alabama. And I also still work in the communications capacity in terms of I do a lot of membership outreach. I do a lot of producer communications as it relates to sharing about the work of the Beef Checkoff program. I have my hands in a lot of arenas, everywhere from website management to producing photography for the magazine to podcasting. As you guys saw earlier, Sarah and I got the opportunity to podcast and about the rodeo. We use that platform to advertise the rodeo, so that's a little partnership there with the SLE and ACA. But we air our podcast every Friday morning at 7 a.m. and it covers the swath of varieties that you can cover in the Alabama cattle industry. That's research happening at the university to tips and advice for cattle producers, whether that's related to forestry or animal health.
That's really cool. So, what do you think? What did you learn at Auburn that kind of helped you make this path for yourself?
Yeah, so technical skills were definitely early on developed at Auburn. Writing was definitely one of the things that I picked up in the AgCom degree. That is hammered into you through the curriculum, as we all remember the horror stories. Also just photojournalism classes. And then of course there's the cliche answer, but so important answer of networking. Because what I do today involves so much collaboration with other people, whether it's at another association or agency, or even in our office. We have actually 4 different graduates of an AgCom program in our office, so inter-office communication is so important. And I learned a lot of that at Auburn through different clubs that I was part of, whether that was Ag Council or Ag Communicators of Tomorrow. That's kind of where some of those underlying skills were originally developed, and just got to build them out here and let them blossom.
That's really cool to see your success, both of your success and what you're doing. It looks different, in each aspect of ag communications, but it's so big. That's so great.
Yeah, Sarah and I have very, very different roles, but got to attend school together and learn in the same curriculum and just go different directions with it.
Yeah, AgCom's very broad, and really the future is whatever you want it to be with AgCom.
Yeah, and it offers such a cool skill set and diverse skill set that you have so many options when you get out of school.
It does. And like she said, with networking, I've taken it to a national level as well, because I am on the board of directors for the Association of Rodeo Committees, which is a national organization that represents committees of all sizes across the United States and into Canada. And so I went to these conferences, I started networking, making friends. They realized who I was, and they selected me to serve on the board to help make this industry even better. And I'm also involved with the Alabama Agribusiness Council. And so just plugging into different places in the industry is so important. And it's easy for people like us who are little chatty Cathys that it's just a fun thing to go and communicate and network. But we really enjoy getting to plug in, and it's not just the same old sitting behind a desk every day.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thanks for taking us along for the day and showing us a little bit about what you do. And it's so neat to see how it all started at Auburn and just really a smaller major, like getting to know one another and where it's taken you. And so, yeah, thank y'all and congrats on all your achievements in the industry. Hey everybody, we're here with Cammie Grace Turner in Talladega, Alabama at the Alabama School for the Deaf. So Cammie Grace, tell us a little bit about who you are and where we are today.
Hey everybody, my name is Cammie Grace Turner, and this is my name sign, which is how my students address me. I teach agriculture at Alabama School for the Deaf. I serve students from all the way from 1st grade to 12th grade, and we just have fun learning all about agriculture.
Well, can we take a look at your classroom space and see what you do on a daily basis?
Sure.
All right. So Cammie Grace, talk to us about the Alabama Institute for Deaf and Blind. Like, what's its mission?
So Alabama Institute for Deaf and Blind, or AIDB, the goal is to serve individuals that are deaf, blind, or deafblind. To summarize it, our catchphrase, so to speak, is deaf, blind, limitless. And so our goal is to provide services to help these individuals become successful at whatever they want to do in life. I specifically work with K-12 students, but we also have services for children ages birth to 3, and then also once they've finished K-12 school, graduate high school, we have services for adults as well. So it's all about teaching them how to overcome obstacles in life and truly become limitless.
So Cammie Grace, tell us a little bit about your classroom space.
Okay, so right now we're standing in my shop. We have it divided kind of into 3 different sections with our plant science. Behind us is hydroponics, and we have our light carts where we start plants, start seeds, and do propagation. We've also got some chicks that my kids are raising. We incubate them, and then the kids have the whole taken care of and raised them. We also do some woodworking. So our shop's a pretty busy place. And then we also have a classroom, and that's where we do lessons, any type of test or reviewing any type of material. And for my elementary kids, we spend most of our time in there away from all of the tools.
Yeah. Why do you think it's so important that we get agriculture in their hands?
So agriculture is the backbone to society. You know, no agriculture, no food, no clothes. And there are a lot of opportunities, I feel like, for careers for our students in agriculture. And the moment that they see their seed germinated, or when they see that the chicks hatched, it's just like, oh wow, like I could do this. I could take care of this plant, or I could take care of this animal. And also just having an understanding of how our society works and the integral role of agriculture in that. And it's also just therapeutic to play in the soil or pet animals. So sometimes there's a kid that's having a really bad day, and they come to my class, and we get to plant some seeds or, you know, play with the baby chicks, and it's like their whole demeanor just changes. So it's not just about, you know, what is agriculture, what is a crop, but also just kind of touching that student and where they are.
So talk to us about what your students are doing.
Okay, so right now my students are taking care of our hydroponics system. We are growing lettuce. So what they've done is test for pH and then test for EC, which tests how much plant fertilizer, or we call it plant food, but fertilizer is in our water system. And so they know like the range is 5.5 to 6.5 for our pH, and then EC needs to be anywhere from 800 to 1500 parts per million. Okay. And so they test it, and then we add the chemicals to adjust it.
Okay, so what are you growing? Did you say what you're
Lettuce.
growing? Lettuce.
So I started it 2 weeks ago, and then we moved it into the system last week.
Okay.
So it should be ready in about 2 weeks.
Okay, cool. It grows that fast?
Yes, because we control temperature, light, chemical, all of that.
Cool.
So, you want to go check on the chickens? We have 5 chicks. They hatched from eggs. They always check food and water. If it needs to be changed, they'll change that out. Usually at the start of class, they come in, hold, pet them, and then at the end of class, if we have time, they just enjoy watching how fast they grow, how they change.
Yeah. So now you have a farm as well, right?
Yes, across town we have our Joe Tom Armbruster Agricultural Center. We lovingly call it the JTA. I take a class out there every day, and then during the summer, that's where I am most of the time. So we do a lot of different stuff out there.
All right, Cami Grace, tell me about the farm here.
So we're here at the Joe Tom Armbruster Agricultural Center, or the JTA, and this is where all of the fun happens. During the summer, we're super busy with different camps. We tend to have corn, sunflowers, watermelon, cantaloupe, tomatoes, and peppers. Our students come and help tend to that, and then right now where we're standing is in between our chicken coops, and we have, I think it's 12 raised beds with a variety of different plants in them, and our students get to help take care of everything and take what they've learned in the classroom and apply it to real world hands-on situations.
So how many acres are in the farm?
So there's 40 acres that encompasses the JTA, and this is the first year we've used most of them. We had 2 really big sunflower fields and then 2 really big corn patches or corn fields where we grew sweet corn for the employees.
Yeah. This is a really cool experience for students to get. Talk to me though about, Cami Grace, about your, just how did you get here to be an educator? What led you down this road?
So I graduated from Auburn in 2018, and I had served as like an undergrad TA, and I knew I liked teaching, and I kind of thought, okay, well, I'll be an extension agent. So I graduated and moved to Oklahoma State and got my master's in ag education and leadership, and really thought I would be an extension agent, and COVID happened, and so I moved back home to Alabama and was just like looking for jobs, and then this job was open. I'd taken another job at another higher education institution, and I enjoyed it, but I missed teaching. I missed being in the classroom and connecting with students, and so I said, okay, God, I'm gonna learn sign language, and so I started practicing. I got an interview for my sign language, and then I had an interview for the job, and that was in 2021, and here we are in 2025. So a little unconventional route, and as I had not gone the traditional teacher certification route, and so I got this job, and I was like, okay, now I have to get all of these certifications. So I got a second master's, and it's a really big, long name, but it's a master's of teaching in special education with a focus in deaf ed. And so I did that, and then passed my praxis for ag ed. So now I'm dually certified in special education for P through 12, which is preschool through 12th grade, and then my ag ed is 6th through 12th grade. And so every day it's just a new learning experience with my students, and just learning about deaf culture and how to be the best teacher I can for my kids.
So like, what were you involved in college that kind of, again, prepped you for the work that you're doing?
I always did the alumni mentoring program, and I had several different mentors that were in different aspects of agriculture, different careers, and they were very helpful in just, make sure to present yourself well and communicate clearly and know what you're looking for. I served on Ag Council. I was also a peer mentor, and I worked in the office with you, Megan. And so just being involved helped me, one, learn the importance of networking. And so, not being afraid to put yourself out there and meet new people, because you never know where you're going to end up and how that benefits you. And then also you find your people, and college is a time of changes and, figuring out who you are. And so finding those people to stand in your corners.
So Cami Grace, thank you for giving us a tour today and showing us what your world looks like. I'm so appreciative and so happy to see you just like thriving. So this has been a great opportunity to be here today. And so before I leave, I think I should learn at least a couple things of sign language.
Okay, so because I'm the agriculture teacher and we're on the farm, we're gonna learn farm. So this is called the 5 handshake, so make the number 5. With your right, are you right-handed or left-handed?
I'm left-handed.
We'll just use your
Use
right
your
hand,
right.
it's easier. So you're gonna take from the left side of your chin,
Oh,
the left side, and go under. And that's the sign for farm.
Okay.
And then, because Auburn, we're gonna do war
Yeah.
eagle. So once again, you kind of take your 5 hand shapes and you like go back and forth, like a war, 2 sides battling, and then eagle. That's the sign for eagle.
Like
so, war,
Or
eagle.
eagle.
So thank you for
Cool.
coming and
Thank
hanging out
you.
today.
This has been great.
Yes, you're welcome.
Hey everybody, we're here in Montgomery, Alabama, home of Sweet Grown, Alabama, and we're here with Ellie and Ashling. So Ellie, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are.
Yeah, I'm Ellie Watson. I am the director of the Sweet Grown Alabama program, and I am a proud 2017 College of Agriculture graduate.
All right, Ashling, tell us a little bit about you.
Yes, my name is Ashling Walding, and I am the Assistant Director for Sweet Grown Alabama, and I graduated in 2022 from the College of Agriculture.
All right, well, can we take a look at your space and
Sure.
kind of talk to you a little bit more about what you do?
Let's go.
All right. So Ellie, for those people not familiar with what Sweet Grown is, tell us about Sweet Grown Alabama.
Well, Sweet Grown Alabama is the coolest program in the entire state, so everyone should be familiar with it, but we are sort of the toddlers on the block when it comes to nonprofits in agriculture in Alabama. So we were started in 2019, so we're still fairly new to the scene, but the entire goal of Sweet Grown Alabama is to help consumers find locally grown products. So that could be anything from fantastic produce to pecans, to peanuts, to meat products, to even things like sod and container plants that you put in your front yard. All of those items can be found at sweetgrownalabama.org so that consumers can easily search them and find local in their neighborhoods. And then what we do as a marketing organization is we spend our money to promote those products to consumers through traditional marketing. So billboards, sports advertising, television ads, podcast ads, even social media influencers that we work with, all with the goal of driving traffic to sweetgrownalabama.org so that consumers can find local and keep their dollars in Alabama's economy.
So Ellie, as Executive Director of Sweet Grown Alabama, what does your day look like? I know it looks different, but what does a typical day look like for you?
That's part of why I love what I get to do, is because every single day is different. I could not imagine a job where I went and did the same thing from 8 to 5 every single day. But here at Sweet Grown Alabama, it really is something new every season and every day, with the goal every moment of helping an Alabama farmer. So that's something that I'm passionate about. I grew up on an Alabama farm and I knew that I wanted to help Alabama farmers when I left Auburn, and Sweet Grown Alabama has allowed me to do that perfectly. I get to do big picture things for our organization, like strategic planning, making sure that the decisions that we're making and presenting to our board of directors are things that are going to pay off for farmers in the long run. But I also get to do kind of the smaller, more microscopic things like answer phone calls from farmers and help them on their website database page. Whatever, they kind of need, we're there to help them. We do a lot of events, so I plan events kind of on the back end. We have a major farm-to-table dinner, we have a seafood cook-off, we have a couple other events that we get to plan here in-house, but then we also attend events all across the state of Alabama.
So how do you make decisions about the events that you do? How do you make decisions of where does Sweet Grown need to be?
Absolutely. So that is such a hard thing with just the two of us. Honestly, we want to go to everything. We hate saying no, but sometimes you have to. We make those decisions based on, is this going to drive traction to that Sweet Grown Alabama logo to then in turn put money in farmers' pockets? Are we going to have a lot of value at that place? We try to say yes to everything. If we don't have anything on our calendars, we're going to go to it. We talk at really small events with 20 folks, and then we talk at a lot of larger events. And then those other things like that, we will travel all across the state, just the two of us. We'll go everywhere to be able to tell people about Sweet Grown Alabama, not just to consumers, but then to also the farmers' organizations and those farmers so that we can help them and they can learn about us and why they should join the program so that they can bear that Sweet Grown Alabama logo to then have more consumers find them.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds really fun. All the traveling that you get to do, seeing the whole state and seeing all these producers.
It is fun. It really is. We are road warriors, I swear. We love getting out. And that makes what we do so fun, is getting to see people and actually know that we're making a difference, and getting out and getting to talk about Sweetgrown Alabama logo. Or when people say, I've seen you, I know who you are, now that we're 6 years in, it makes it feel so much more real.
Yeah, and when you think about all that marketing stuff, so I feel like social media and all that stuff is ever changing. How do you kind of stay on top of the trends? What are you looking for? What are you reading about to know how to market?
Absolutely. So we find that we do a better job marketing our farmers faces. We have found that consumers want to know who they're purchasing from. They don't want to just see a basket of peaches on our Facebook or a pumpkin on our Instagram. They want to see Farmer Joe in the field just talking about what he's doing. It can be the most simple video of just saying, hey, I am Ashling Balding with Balding Farms, and this is what I grow, and this is what I'm doing. And folks resonate with that, and they love that. And again, driving folks back to visiting their database profile page so that they can find their phone number, find the farmer's email, find their address so that they can spend money with them.
So how do farmers get connected with Sweetgrown Alabama?
Yeah, we tell every single farmer that joins Sweetgrown Alabama the reason we want them to join and why they should join our organization is because we're trying to put a tangible dollar back into their pockets. At the end of the day, I'm committed, my board's committed, Ashling's committed. If we're not helping a farmer make money on his or her products, this marketing and these pretty logos mean nothing. We are not going to spend money on an organization that's not putting tangible dollars into Alabama's economy. So that's why our farmers join. Our farmers see other farmers that are part of the organization and see how they're getting tangible benefit from Sweetgrown Alabama, and they decide to join our organization. It's $100, and that return pays very quickly for the majority of our farmers based on customers that are getting from the database and finding them, and also based on events that they have the opportunity to be part of through our organization.
So a lot of what I do day to day is our website updates, and that includes adding members to the database. That includes when they call and they want to update things or change things. I make a lot of those edits. When farmers want to join our program, all they have to do is visit that website, fill out a short application, and that comes directly to my email. I will then invoice them $100 annually and then get them listed in that database so that consumers can then find them with just a touch of a button. And then as that years go on, folks want to update things. Peach season is over. We're getting into pumpkin patch season. Things are changing on the farm. They can call me. They can shoot me a quick email. I can help make those updates for them, as well as farmers have a login. So if they want to make those updates themselves, they definitely can. I will say a lot of folks like to utilize me and they like to just call, and that I can do that really quickly. But we want to keep those database profile pages growing. We want to have consumers able to know what's going on as they go. So we don't want them to get outdated.
So what are consumers looking for in the grocery store to know that it's a Sweetgrown product?
Yeah, definitely. Consumers can look and they can find Sweetgrown Alabama's logo on several items in the grocery store and at the farmer's market. So we encourage them, if you are not seeing that on your grocery store shelves, don't be afraid to ask, especially at some of these smaller mom and pop style grocery stores that are owned by people that live in Alabama. We as an organization are equipped and ready to connect those grocery store owners with farmers that have the products that they may be looking for. So if a consumer doesn't see the local product that they want, tell the store that you're interested in local and that Sweetgrown Alabama is here to help. So that is something that, as the program grows, it is my dream and my hope that every grocery store you walk in, every high-end restaurant you walk in, that Sweetgrown Alabama logo will be visible and will be a household name and something that consumers just grow to expect when they think about quality and supporting local.
So you both are ag communications graduates. Tell me a little bit about your experience at Auburn.
I did not apply to any other schools other than Auburn, so I had no backup plan if Auburn did not accept me, but knew I wanted to be a College of Ag student from day one. And when I got to the College of Agriculture, I really just jumped in, both feet forward, full-fledged, involved. So spent all of my really past my freshman year. I did a couple things off Ag Hill, but once I got into sophomore year and beyond, I spent all of my involvement and all of my time on Ag Hill. I was an Ag ambassador, and that was the best thing that I got to do as a College of Ag student. I had almost full-time jobs on campus on Ag Hill, working in positions doing student recruitment. I also worked in the marketing department there at the College of Ag, learning from that incredible team. Well, and a plug for what you do, Megan, because we were both part of the Ag Alumni Mentoring Program. And so for me, the mentors that I had in the Ag Alumni Mentoring Program, Grace Ellis was one of my mentors, and she is an industry leader that I work with on a weekly basis. We were on a call with Grace last week, and she is one of those leaders that I met as a student that now has become like a peer and somebody that I work with weekly to accomplish the goals of Sweet Grown Alabama. And then Aisling had an incredible mentor program story.
I truly wouldn't have my job or to be doing what I'm doing without that mentorship program. Brian Harden was my very first mentor, and he actually introduced Ellie and I completely fell in love with the work she was doing. And Sweet Grown Alabama practically begged her for an internship. Worked as an intern for one summer, and then it just so happened, it just lucked out that she got it approved by the board to be able to hire someone else. And I was hired on as the assistant director for Sweet Grown in March, right before I graduated. So she was able to work with me before I graduated. I did some part-time work before I started the Monday after graduation.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's an incredible testament to why that program was built for you all to build connections and kind of pave the way for your career. So tell me, again, in the college we do talk a lot about a network and the importance of building a network. Talk to me about like your network and where it began, and why is it so important for students to start when they're in college?
Absolutely. I mean, that whole experience is what you make of it. So you can go to class and go home and have a great college experience and graduate, and I'm sure you're going to be fine. But if you are interested in staying involved in the Alabama agriculture industry, the players that you need to know are at these College of Ag events. I encourage every student to not miss those chances to network, because those are the people that are going to be hiring you. The people you're sitting next to in class are going to be your peers.
Definitely. I mean, it just makes so much of a difference of the people that you meet when you're in college, and I'm still seeing those folks. I'm still seeing these people that knew me as a student and know me now, and getting to grow with them. And I know that, you know, when we're looking for interns or when other folks are looking for jobs, they'll call us and say, do you know this person? Have you heard of this person? And so it truly is about who you know. You know, of course, having that College of Ag degree is so important because they know you went to a good school and they know that you got a great degree. But if someone can vouch for you and say, I know this person, I got to work with them on this event while they were a junior or senior, their work ethic is great, it goes such a far way with, you know, when Ellie gets to call someone and say, yes, I know that person, the weight is just more.
Lots of wisdom right here. So thank you for all that you do, for letting us spend the morning with you and going out and seeing your work earlier this summer. So thank y'all.
Yeah, the College of Agriculture truly has shaped our lives incredibly, not just from the time we spent there, but the relationships that we continue to have and the experiences we continue to have with the College of Agriculture. So we appreciate all that y'all do.
Yeah, I love to hear that. That makes me happy. Thank you.